What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So the news just came in that Battlefield 5 has been delayed to November 20th, and I wanted to really quickly read EA's statement. I say quickly, but it's quite a long one, so my apologies in advance, but I guess I need to do that before we really can start talking about it. So here we go. It's called an update on Battlefield 5. Today we are announcing that Battlefield 5 will have a new launch date, November 20th, 2018. I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into how we arrived at this new date. Over the summer, we have had tens of thousands of players get their hands on the game during our closed alphas and at E3 and Gamescom, where we were honored to receive the awards for Best Multiplayer Game at both shows. You have told us that you are seeing an increased focus on squad play come through, and you're also feeling the difference in our revamped player movement, and we are getting a lot of positive feedback for our improved weapons handling. You've also spurred us to make some meaningful improvements to the core gameplay experience, including adjusting the gameplay tempo, improving soldier visibility, and reducing player friction. You'll see a lot of those things reflected in our open beta that starts on September 6th. We believe we have one of the best Battlefield games ever on our hands, a game that will deliver on an emotional journey through the return of unseen single-player war stories, a deep multiplayer experience, Battle Royale, along with our new live service, Ties of War, a journey across multiple theaters of World War II and designed to keep our community together. With the open beta just around the corner, we are excited about the millions of you who will join us and experience the game, and we fully expect to see even more feedback coming our way. And that's why we're moving our launch date. We're going to take the time to continue to make some final adjustments to the core gameplay and to ensure that we really deliver on the potential of Tides of War. We know moving the launch date means that we all have to wait a little longer, but we're going to take our time to make sure we get it right. Thank you for your continued passion and support. We can't wait to see you on the battlefield in just a few days. I just find it funny reading these statements from EA. You know, I have the same feeling now as I did when I read their original statement on the cancellation of the Star Wars project, is that they have these long posts and you can just so easily look through it, that it's typical PR, right? It's just empty words basically, trying to spin everything in a positive way and we're delaying the game to make changes to it and to, turn it into the Battlefield you know and love, and we're listening to your feedback, stuff like that. Cool, I'm sure they are doing that, but that's not the reason why the game got delayed, and we all know that. So in that way, I'm just like, just send out the smallest little message that says, hey, we've decided to delay Battlefield to November 20th, a month ahead of where it was originally going to launch at. We're listening to your feedback, we can't wait for the beta, and that's it. Now they're really trying to it's just lying, that's what it feels like, right? Because again, the reason why Battlefield has been delayed is because it has two much bigger issues right now than what they're saying right now, these things that still need to be improved on. First and foremost, the most important one was obviously the release date timing. It was sandwiched right in the middle between Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, the latter one of those, Red Dead Redemption 2, has obviously made quite a significant impact on the games industry and where these games are being launched right now in what months, because we've seen Call of Duty go from the typical November release that it would have all of a sudden go to October for the first time ever, just because it so desperately wanted to be 2 weeks ahead of Red Dead. So clearly, they are definitely afraid that Red Dead would have a huge impact on their sales had they released it later at least, and it still might of course even earlier, but it will probably mean for some improved sales numbers, at least better ones than what they would have had. And with Battlefield, it was like, yeah, the same thing really. I mean, Battlefield was coming out a week before Red Dead Redemption 2, and a week after Call of Duty Black Ops 4. It was just terrible timing. Same thing as what happened to Titanfall 2. That game absolutely got murdered when it was launched in between, like, what was it at the time? Battlefield 1 and then Call of Duty Infinite Warfare or something in 2016. So it's clear that they moved Battlefield because of that. They moved it to November, and personally, I am happy with that because these months, September and October, were initially looking to be incredibly crowded. They still somewhat are, but it's not as bad anymore. In September, me personally, I was going to get Spider-Man, I was going to get Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and I was going to get Spyro. Fortunately, Spyro got delayed to November. And the same thing was kind of with October, right? Red Dead Redemption 2 is the major game there. And then Call of Duty and Battlefield, I wasn't sure about if I would get any of them. I'm still not, to be honest. It's kind of gonna depend on if I, at that point when they come out, if I've already beaten all the previous games and feel like there is time for me to play those at that time. But I'm not exactly, like, this is probably the least excited I've ever been for a Call of Duty release and for a Battlefield release, because for some reason, like, they're just, like, Black Ops to me is really not appealing because it feels like more of the same, and there is no single player included either, which in my opinion is, and that's for me personally, but that's a big deal because I do enjoy the Call of Duty campaigns, and at least, you know, if in 1 year I don't enjoy a specific Call of Duty multiplayer, I'll always have the single player to at least kind of get my money out of it, right? And this year that's just not gonna be the case. We'll see about the Battle Royale mode if that's anything worth talking about. And with Battlefield, it's like, yeah, obviously there's quite some reputation damage that has been done to the franchise, which I just find hilarious because I always looked at Battlefield as the good guy of the first-person shooters for the last decade, pretty much, right? You know, I remember how back in, 2011, everybody was getting tired of that same old arcadey Call of Duty formula, and then Battlefield 3 came along, and it just felt, maybe I'm hyping it up too much, but it felt like it was gonna be first-person shooters taken to the absolute next level, right? It felt like first-person shooter 2.0. The graphics were so realistic. You had on console 24-player battles and on PC 64-player battles on these massive maps. The marketing was done so well, and that same sort of reputation kept carrying forward, I felt, with Battlefield 4, especially with Battlefield 1, because it was the first Battlefield game that decided to go back in time when everybody had been asking for that, because we all got tired of this futuristic formula that all these first-person shooters kept relying on, right? So when Battlefield 1 did that, it was the most liked trailer in YouTube history, I think, at least as far as gaming goes. And marketing-wise, you know, it just, like, yeah, the way people viewed Battlefield just 2 years ago with Battlefield 1 versus Call of Duty was infinitely better. No pun intended towards Infinite Warfare. But now we're here in 2018, and the reputation Battlefield has at the moment could not have been worse. Obviously, you had the whole, you know, female controversy and stuff with the original trailer, which I don't want to get into too much anymore because it's kind of old now. But they made some mistakes there. That's clear. At least they made mistakes in the way that people viewed that brand now. And me personally, I just thought that original trailer, you know, next to the whole female thing, I felt like it just didn't do justice really to the World War II setting. It felt way too over the top and just kind of childish, you know, like that's kind of the vibe I got from there, which I found weird. And of course you had the whole discussions about historical accuracy, and I'm going completely off topic, but like, you know, whether you find that a big thing or not, whether you think Battlefield has been realistic or not, I think there's absolutely no doubt about it that one of the key selling points of Battlefield in the past has always been this is much more of a realistic type of experience. It feels real, at least. Sure, you can do crazy over-the-top shit. You always have been able to fly out of planes, snipe somebody, you know, in midair and get back in your plane, stuff like that. I get it, but the setting they provided, the backdrop that they had was always realistic. And with Battlefield 5, you know, the way they portrayed World War II to me just wasn't that exciting at all. I just was kind of weirded out by it. And then there's the fact that it just feels, again, like Battlefield 1. It's just more of the same. Yeah, the time frame is supposed to be like, 30 years later or something, but not much changed in that time, and it still very much feels like a World War I expansion, in my opinion. Maybe not so much looking at the gameplay changes they've made, but more at the setting that they're providing. Like I said, there are a lot of problems that Battlefield is facing right now, and I really wonder how the game is gonna sell compared to a Call of Duty, compared to a Red Dead, just compared to, I guess, the highest selling games of the year that everyone is looking forward to, because I've been asking my own viewers on Twitch a lot already, you know, which of these games are you getting? And it's very clear there that for the, you know, the core gamer, at least the people watching me, Red Dead is easily at the top, and Battlefield and Call of Duty both kind of have that same issue where not many people are looking forward to them at all. And obviously these games heavily rely as well on the casual audience. We'll see what choice they make. We'll see if Red Dead is gonna be able to capture some of that market, right? Because that's kind of the big question right now. gamers love it, but the casual audience, are they gonna pick up on Red Dead because it's the Wild West and stuff? You know, we'll have to wait and see. Still, on a personal level, I'm happy with this delay. I think that it was way too crowded in October, so I think Battlefield is doing the right move here, and they're probably gonna sell a bit more. Whether it's gonna save them though, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And then for now, I'd like to thank you a lot for watching, and hope to see you again next time.